at least until my husband comes home. We're going out to go get some dinner later. So here I am. Let's talk about business for a minute. Investing. Anybody with even a little bit of money knows about investing, right? I mean, that's what we do around here. We talk about saving money. What is a good investment? What is a bad investment? Just a second. What is an investment that you shouldn't sink any more money into? Basically, this is the world we live in. It's capitalism, and it's one of those things where if you don't understand it, you're gonna be caught flat-footed. All right, so let's say like you're a business like Disney. You buy a Lucasfilm thinking you're gonna make a lot of money. First movie comes out, it was shit, mediocre, and you knew that. But it was made during the time when mediocre directors and producers like J.J. Abrams were getting play because they were pliable, because you could make them do what you wanted them to, and they wouldn't stand up for themselves. Okay, you were basically part of a stagnant culture. Okay, which is what The Force Awakens is. Then reality comes in. The fans are upset. All right, and it starts. YouTubers like World Class Bullshitters and others started going, the movie really wasn't that good. I mean, it made a lot of money. And, people are trying to tell themselves they really liked it when they knew deep in their hearts. And one of these people, I look at those videos and go, God, every excuse that I could make for this piece of shit, I made. Why? Because I didn't want to believe the people that were making these movies didn't care. I could not, in my mind, I could not wrap my mind around it. I'm an idealist. I'm naive about this shit, okay? And then, we got our expectations subverted by Roundhead Johnson, and then it was off. Okay, so what happens is you invest a couple, 4 or 5 billion into the parks. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars into Galaxy's Edge, into the Star Wars Hotel. You see, maybe not a good break. Maybe it broke even. Maybe it didn't with Rogue One, but that happens. It's off brand. It's brand, but it's off brand. The Last Jedi makes 1.3 billion. It probably broke even. Maybe made a little bit of profit, but not the profit that The Force Awakens. Then you start to worry because you see where you projected this movie to be, which is $2.3 billion, and it went down. All right, it did not make as much money as The Force Awakens by a lot. Then Solo comes out and loses about $350 million. All right. They talk about Indiana Jones 5 losing money, and it did probably the same amount because they only made the same amount. Okay. And they cost the same amount to make. All right. And then you start going, we need to reassess where we are. The sequel trilogy is not working. Our licensees, Hasbro, are not making money on these figures. The merchandise, of course, George always said the merchandise is where you make the money in Star Wars. And they're not making that money with the sequels. And you have to bring back the original director, J.J. Abrams, to come in and try to fix what was broken. And when he comes up with his rough cut, which is a rough cut that George Lucas actually helped him with, your president of Lucasfilm has a shit fit because the things that she wanted in the movie, which are not popular with the rank and file fans, Ray Blow, etc., aren't in it. So you have to reshoot it. You shoot, they said 40% reshoots. The movie barely crosses $1 billion. Okay, so then you get Jon Favreau. He comes up with The Mandalorian to kick off Disney Plus and fucking slays it. He fucking slays it. Mandalorian season 2, the end. Luke Skywalker, which is what the fans wanted, comes in. You start seeing some positive results, right? So you're looking at the sequel trilogy, which is a dumpster fire, a giant, huge dumpster fire. Okay, and then you see Mandalorian working, and you realize that Kathleen Kennedy is not going to be happy because people are responding to John, and they're responding positively to what the guys are doing, but nothing that she's done. So what does she do? She goes in and starts confounding and, basically messing with the Book of Boba Fett, etc., and making it very difficult. I got something in my eye. Making it very difficult. Hey, David, for Jon Favreau to do anything. Book of Boba Fett doesn't do well, even though it was okay. You could see where her fingerprints were all over it. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, I thought was good, but because the Book of Boba Fett didn't turn well, and now you've got another enemy to consider. Rage porn addicts on YouTube, the Black Pill faction, show up, screaming about Kenobi and lying about it. Hey, Piranha. I've seen it 3 times now, David. And you realize you're going to have to do something. Now, you know that there's a rumor going out there that John and Dave, ever since they started The Mandalorian, have an idea to put the sequel trilogy either in its own pocket universe and to bypass it completely, or to erase it. All right. And you realize that this is something the fans might like. Here's the deal. You get the fans that are maybe not rage porn addicts, who don't go to these big black pill channels and, get their fix of hate on. And maybe they'll start to think critically when they realize that, yes, it's over. It's the sequel trilogy is set in a different timeline. You see that maybe that would work. Now, you look at the money that you indulged Kathleen Kennedy with. $1 billion, $1 billion, I think, for the Star Wars Hotel. It's a lot of money, right? For a 100-room, $6,000 a night stay for 3 days, or no, for 48 hours, and then you have to leave. I mean, it's like, you look at the response to the sequel trilogy cast members. All right, you add Boba Fett, Din Djarin, and Grogu walking around the park, and people mob them. Throw in Ahsoka now, she's there at Galaxy's Edge. People mob them. You look at Batuu there and think, that this really does look like Tatooine. I don't know. So you're thinking, we sunk all this money in, and we've lost so much money, because that's how, as an investor, that's what I do. How much money am I going to make? If I invest this, how much money am I going to lose? And I see, at 007, I lost billions. Disney, I estimate, sunk $10 billion, not only into buying Star Wars, or Lucasfilm, but in the parks, in the movies, in all the media, all the things that they do that the Walt Disney Company is known for. Now, why? Because people hate the sequel trilogy. They get triggered. I know I do when I see Daisy Ridley. I get triggered when I see Adam Driver. I fucking hate him. I fucking, I detest him because every time I see him, I think of what they did to George Lucas's Star Wars. All right. Anybody think that Ben Swolo would ever be part of George's ideas of what the sequel trilogy might look like? I mean, let's talk about this. Did George want to make a sequel trilogy? No. He got manipulated into it by Bob Iger saying, your company's only worth $1 billion if you had movies in the hopper that were coming up and in development, you know, it would be worth a lot more. This property would be worth a lot more money. That's bogus bullshit. Bogus bullshit. Okay. We all know it's bogus bullshit. All right, but he manipulated George, and George had a new baby coming, and it was like, you know, Marion County won't let me expand my business. All right, and I believe Kathleen would be able to protect what I created. She had no intention of doing that, but we all know that. Friends, the people you think are your friends sometimes are the biggest Judases you can ever meet. That's a fact, all right? That's why when you see people who are popular with a lot of people around them, they're not friends, they're acquaintances, all right? Popular people tend to be the most lonely people on the planet, all right? People who have a few close friends, you know, are pretty happy and solid. Now, you're looking at your investment into the sequel trilogy, and you're looking at the spark of optimism with Mandoverse. What are you going to spend your money on? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to get the people back? What are you going to do to shut down the Black Pill narrative? What? You're going to get rid of the sequel trilogy. Again, I don't give a flying flock what you believe in the transoms of your little tiny mind, okay? The sequel trilogy is not good for business. It isn't, all right? This is just business. It doesn't, business is logical. Business is pragmatic. Business is very rational, okay? People who hate the sequel trilogy, who don't think it's going anywhere, understand that they will lose a valuable talking point if it does go away or off into a pocket universe. They'll complain that there's a double timeline. You know? Meanwhile, everybody's going, Star Wars is back. You know? It's not that they can't handle being happy. It's that they get popularity and money from rage porn. That's it. Okay. People who don't think it's going to happen have no idea what investments are, how businesses invest in things, all right, how things go, all right. I invest $4.3 billion in Lucasfilm when I buy it. I set aside $300 million to film The Force Awakens. All right, and there's issues. Harrison Ford pissed off the Millennium Falcon and the landing ramp landed on his foot and broke it. And there were reshoots, and, you know, the late J.W. Rinsler talked about that there were and wanted to write a book about it, and Disney said absolutely not. He wanted to put it in a blog. Disney said absolutely not. Someday we'll find out just how much bad went on with that. Okay. All right. Not yet. But you make $2.03 billion, which you net about $700 million. You can make 2 Star Wars movies with this $700 million. At least produce, produce and market 2 Star Wars movies with that. See, so that's the way you think with this. because the money isn't made by the movies. It is made by the merchandise. It is made by people coming to Galaxy's Edge. It is made by Hasbro selling billions of fucking Ray toys. Which, by the way, if you want to talk about good business, you want to talk about things that sell, why the fuck are Last Jedi Ray figures still hanging on the pegs at Ollie's? Why? Because you cannot sell it. So why wouldn't you bypass it? All right, look, I don't care anymore. I don't care what people think. But this constant, they're not going to do it. They can't afford it. They spent too much money. Yes, they lost that much money. You fucking idiots. Duh. That's the problem. It's not the investment. They lost that investment. All right? Disney stocks are down to $80. They were down to $79 today. Okay? $79. They're back up to 80. They were up, it was up over 84 the other day. Or yesterday, I think, or the day before. And then it went back down. Okay. And it's got to do with the ESPN thing and probably Hulu and this Charter Communications bullshit that, it's typical business fight club. Okay. But that's bad. Disney needs positive news. You know what positive news is? People who tell people that they shouldn't get their hopes up. Miserable cows. Anakin Skywalker and the World Between Worlds. Now, my favorite thing is when you've got some female lecturing people on stuff, and she's saying that blah 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 blah, like so she's some sort of intellectual academic. It's like, you don't even use your real name. Okay, stop it. Just chillax. First off, the World Between Worlds was something that Dave Filoni probably talked to George Lucas about. Obviously, the lack of knowledge about quantum physics is exposed with this because George Lucas knows about quantum physics. He knows about folded time theories, all the rest of that shit. Okay. World Between Worlds is something in Star Wars that works. Okay. That works. Anakin Skywalker being in the World Between Worlds, I'm going to say as a Force ghost, but him there is positive. The question is, if they're not getting rid of the sequel trilogy ever, I just wish people wouldn't say that anymore. Then why the fuck are we even here then? Okay, if that is fucking true, why the fuck does anybody care? Because everybody wants it to go away. Okay. The people who love Star Wars want it gone. And they will do anything that they have to as fans to help the people who love Star Wars that are working to fix what the fuck is broken. And help them with anything they can, including giving Ahsoka a fair shake, and it's good. The fact that they're showing episode 5, which is an hour long, at select theaters might mean there's something really big gonna happen, But no, the sequel trilogy's never going anywhere. Do people just say that shit just to hear themselves talk? So they can actually talk down to you? I mean, and look, these people don't have investments. They don't. They don't have someone moving money from one thing to another when the market goes bad. They don't have meetings with their money guys. Okay, now, if you were smart, when you were in your 30s and 20s, you started putting a nest egg together. And when you got your 401k and all the rest of that shit, you took that money and invested it with a broker, or like the guy I have, that Rudy and I have, to make sure A, your money's safe, that it's going to be there, but B, it grows. That's what investment is. Okay. That's what Disney did when they bought Lucasfilm. How the fuck were they supposed to know that Kathleen Kennedy, the most powerful woman in Hollywood, is a doorknob? All right? Everybody believed that shit. The only person who didn't was Steven Spielberg. All right? And he knew back in the 80s she's an idiot. All right? So, are they going to get rid of the sequel trilogy? As an investor, if I was somebody that was an advisor to Nelson Peltz, I would say, Mr. Peltz, one of the things you need to talk to Iger about is getting rid of Kennedy and removing the sequel trilogy. This is what they've lost since the Force Awakens came out. All right, and then add her idea. Let's bring y'all in the sequel era because there's more movies ahead of us than behind us. There are. They're all trash. No one watched them. Everybody hated them. The people who liked them probably live in their parents' basement and have their face so full of piercings that they look like they fell into their father's tackle box. But hey, they're not going to change that. But no, Nelson Peltz looks at what Lucasfilm has lost because of the sequel trilogy. Goes to Bob Iger and says, you got to get rid of it. All right, I'm adding more money to my investment in Disney, which makes me more powerful than I already was. Okay, and he did. Peltz did that. Bob Iger, John, Dave, you have a go. Get rid of it. Do something with it. Now, what are the choices? So the negative black pills can still bitch about the sequel trilogy. Hey, Kev, how you doing? Zachariel, how are you doing, citizen? Dave, all right. You either erase it, kill the Emperor off, Anakin does it, or they have a separate timeline. Put it in its own pocket universe so all the black pills and the shills that like it can beat off in the corner, one side bitching and one side cheering. All right. Meanwhile, the rest of us can go on our merry way and embrace a brand new Star Wars era in which the heroes of the original trilogy are not disrespected. You know, look, the sequel trilogy characters have been erased from the intros. All right, there's no Phasma, no Kylo Ren, no BB-8, none of that shit. Okay, you have Mandalorians, you have Vader, you have Huyang, and R2-D2, I think, and Chopper. Okay, but the rest of it, no. Okay, no. So the sequel trilogy is not mentioned. The hotel is closed. Why? They were losing money. Why on earth would they keep something open if they're not making any money on it? Yeah, I thought Rogue One was good too. And what is Ira? What is rings? I don't understand. So when I hear people say it's never happening, it's like, please tell me you're not an investment banker. Because if you are, you're not investing my money. I wouldn't trust you to invest my dog's food in a dog food bank to make it get bigger. Okay? I wouldn't trust you investing in rabbit shit. All right? I wouldn't trust you with anything. Please don't tell me anything about this because I have seen investments go up. I've seen the market kill us. I've seen, breaking even. And I've seen, now, I don't think what does that have to do with Disney? It doesn't. Rings of Power is Amazon, and they have not. I don't think they have. Did they cancel it? I don't think they did. But you know, I'm like, they have to do something. Disney needs to make money. Okay, what do you do to make money? You invest in things that are going to be a success. Okay, now until the Book of Boba Fett came out, and all the assholes were crying and screaming and ranting and rending their garments over it, because what else were they gonna do? I'm sure. Name the big YouTuber with, a couple of 100,000 in investments, and I'll say bullshit. Okay, bullshit. All right. At least in the Star Wars community, I think Tooth probably makes a lot of money, but for the rest of us, I don't think so. I think whatever. You know, this is about Disney. Doomcock does too, but Doomcock is fair-minded. He's logical, and I think he has has a sense of pragmatism about himself, and he understands that things have to change. I mean, look, you can't just sit there and say they're not going to do it when they're not making any fucking money from it, when they've lost billions from it. Let's sink more into this bottomless pit of horror because we can't get rid of it. We've already lost $10 billion or $8 billion. Because this is my favorite thing, when the Black Pills do this and when the pro sequel trilogy shills do this, and other people who just want to act like they know so much more than the rest of us. And trust me, being the only blonde in the Star Wars community, I get a lot of shit. By the way, I am not blonde. I'm actually a brunette, okay? All right, I did this a long time ago because I didn't want to look like everybody else in Hawaii. But Lucasfilm said, Lucasfilm supposedly broke even, or a little over broke, 4.9 billion years ago. Me. That's gross profit, right? Oh yeah. Have you ever balanced your checkbook? Have you ever gotten a 401k or your W-2 form? You ever seen what your paycheck looks like after the taxes are taken out? Have you? Because your net pay is what you get back. And what they got back was probably about $2 billion. And Disney, if you think about all the money they've invested in movies, in the comics, in the novels, in basic publishing, the parks probably invested 10 billion or more, and they've only gotten 2 billion back. And that 10 billion is also part of the buying of Lucasfilm. Okay, but no, they'll keep the sequel trilogy. And look, there are people out there, and I could name at least one, that will die on that hill because they don't know what they're talking about. You can be a cultural gadfly, like we all are. I am. You know what a gadfly is, right? All right, so back in the day, back in Greek history, a guy named, he was the philosopher Socrates. I'm over 40 years old, so trust me, my memory. I mean, I walk into a room and I forget what the fuck I was doing. Socrates was he was gadfly, and he would basically challenge people on what they were doing and what they Ha ha, Kev, ha ha. And what they believed in and everything. And Socrates, yes, he was, and they ended up making him drink hemlock, but he was a gadfly. Our job as cultural commentators is to be a gadfly. So you basically, but I'm not only going to be a gadfly to the Pablo Hidalgos and the woke assholes of the world, who are really the enemy. I'm going to be a gadfly to every black pill blob loser out there because they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. Money. Disney's lost its shirt on Lucasfilm. And part of it's Bob Iger's fault for sticking his nose into the scripts. Part of it's and a lot of it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault because A, she wouldn't defend George. B, she could not get along with any director that had a vision, and she had to push them out. Michael Arndt, and others. So you're looking at it going, a change has to come. So Sparrow says Kennedy's no longer allowed on Lucasfilm on the campus without a minder. They want her out. They want her gone. She has to fill out reports to the flying to the horsemen every day about what she's doing. She's fucked. Now she's selling at least one of their houses in Los Angeles for twice what they bought it for. Okay, but it's overpriced. Yeah, and Peter's right. The problem with the black pill blobs and the know-it-all ninnies, they don't realize that we're not living in that time anymore. That Wokistan is falling. And that's why we're hearing, look, it didn't help Wokistan to have Dylan Mulvaney. Did it? No, it didn't. It didn't help Wokistan that Target decided to parade around tuckable swimming suits for trannies in the kids section. Okay. What the fuck? Okay. It's I watch this and look, even Bill Maher's sick of it. Okay. Bill Maher's sick of it. Other, lefty notables, except probably Howard Stern, who probably has a fetish for trannies, isn't, and if he is, he hasn't said. The people who are starting to get a voice are the Joe Rogans. And Ira's right there. That's why I brought him up. So when you're talking about the sequel trilogy, and what it's an anchor, it's the albatross around Star Wars neck right now. Okay. We're in the world between worlds. The people who don't understand it, A, never watched Rebels. B, don't realize this was set up to do things like this if a storyline wasn't working. Okay. I am looking at this going, I can't believe people are this blind. And look, some of the people aren't worried about making money. Some of them are perfectly nice people. They just don't know anything about C-suite culture, big business. They don't know that a company like Disney can't afford to lose more money on the sequel trilogy and allow the sequel trilogy and allow the big YouTubers to form a narrative that no matter how good a product is that they have, these people are going to beat it into the ground, and you won't be successful because they have formed a narrative, and they have thousands and thousands of people following them around like lemmings over a cliff. Okay, and that's what's going on. You know, you have to accept a little bit of you have to accept a little bit of knowledge that other people might have in this subject. Again, you know, we've got a lot of money stashed in investments, okay? And I see trades going on all the time. I get the updates. I don't care. I don't care to look. I know my guy is doing a great job. He always does. And, you know, we've done okay when it's been bad. Not made any money, but not lost our asses either. Yep, and Zeppelin's right there. So there you go. All right, so why wouldn't Bob Iger, and I think Bob Chapek too, just tell John and Dave, put the sequel trilogy somewhere where we don't have to worry about it. Here's another thing. How come Kyle Ron and Ray are no longer that prominent at Disneyland? But Boba Fett, Din Djarin, and Grogu, and now Ahsoka are. Because change is coming. And too many people out there just, look, the sequel trilogy can't be removed, blah, blah, blah. It's like Linus and his blanket. They're going to turn it into a sport coat when they get older. All right, it's like, you know, and again, let's talk about Disney stock. $80, really? 80 a share? You know, I might actually ask my guy to go out and buy more. And no, you don't see them anymore because they're not, you know. All right, and as Zeppelin said, Kyle, Ron, and Ray are not really in the park anymore. Look, the Rise of the Resistance, that's stupid, it's just so stupid. That ride, first off, never worked. Kyle Ron was only animatronic, which, it being Adam Driver, I'm sure they could have probably gotten him to actually play an animatronic. And it doesn't work, all right? Peter, have you ever seen Rebels? Because, yeah, they have, in Rise of the Resistance, he's up what looks like to be in on the bridge of a ship or something. And he just kind of looks down at everybody. Of course, I'd be going by giving him the finger. This is from your dad! Fuck you! You know, but that's just me. Yeah, so that's Jason Sandula. I don't think he's going to be that big. I think they'll have to wait till later. He's just, look, he was in Rebels. They had to bring him off. They have to bring him out. I wish I hadn't. I prefer to see Jason solo. I want it, when I see Leia, I want to hear Han say, well, my wife has got twins. We've got twins coming. So I just can't get up and leave and go wherever I want. That would be hilarious. Because all of the shills would be going, and all of the black pills would be going, ah. And me, your tears are sweetening my tea. You know? But let's go look at Disney's stock. So it was what, $80 today? I just looked at it like a little while ago. That's bad. That's not good. That's not good at all. You know, like I said, I should get a hold of my guy and just say, hey, buy some more Disney stock. All right, just do it. He'd probably tell me I was crazy, and I'm like, no, I'm rather bullish on it. And the reason why is because once they figure out what they're doing and get their content, you know, then it's, it'll be great. I think the sequel trilogy should be a dumpster fire vision in some like third level of Coruscant outside of some whorehouse, you know, dirty little fucking whorehouse. Maybe on Ord Mantell. Um, yeah, I think. All right, so let's talk about that. The World Between Worlds. When you see it in World Between Worlds and Rebels, Ezra goes flying through the portal, which opens up by the wolves that are on the mural of the son or the daughter, father, and son, and they're going around. He goes through to get away from the stormtroopers, and then it closes. He's stuck. All right, so he's walking around, and he hears Obi-Wan, and he hears Yoda, and oh, God knows where it's going to be, Craig. But there are a lot of financial people, at least on CNBC, that thought, you know, it was going to be that it might be a good investment, and it's always, you know, down the road. It's the long term. I don't know. I'm just repeating what they said, but Ezra goes through this. He hears Yoda, and he's on, the thing that you saw Ahsoka on, that blue kind of light thing. She's standing on it. That's those are things that connect one moment in time to another. And it's all very quantum. You've heard of folded space, folded time. There you go. Okay. All right. Folded space, folded time. And that is very much a George Lucas idea. Okay. It's a very naturalistic kind of thing. So you've got, as he hears everybody, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn. I can't remember the other Jedi, but he hears their voices, and he's walking through going, and then he sees this portal in front of him, and it's Ahsoka fighting Vader. And instead of her dying in that place that they were fighting, because that was that timeline, he pulls her out. And they're walking around, and they see Kanan Jarrus fighting off trying to keep the fire back, and it's a some Sith temple, and Ezra wants to save Kanan, and Ahsoka's like, no, if you do that, everybody will die. Okay, don't do that. So they leave Kanan where he is. So in the timeline, Ahsoka lives, Kanan dies. Okay, you've got that, because there are just some things you've got to leave alone. So you got that. Okay, cool, whatever. And then as they're walking, another portal opens. And guess who's doing Sith alchemy? Palpatine. So he shoots out this lightning to drag them both in, and they escape. And Ahsoka, they split up. Ahsoka goes through one portal, and Ezra goes through another. So we don't know what timeline she's in anymore. Okay, she shows up in this place. It's dreary, dark, and sort of, Meanwhile, Ezra's back in his own timeline, and when he shuts the portal down, he puts his hand on the sun's fist. It's like this, and the sun goes like that, I think, and the portal closes, and the sun's eyes flash, and you hear his voice. I can't remember what he says, but you hear his voice. So now we're back in the World Between Worlds with Ahsoka. And this is where a lot of theories are coming up. Personally, I think it's just Anakin. But he's wearing Vader's lightsaber. Now, some people were making a big deal about it. I'm like, The chosen one doesn't necessarily have to be a Jedi. Okay. The chosen one can be a Sith. He literally is a balance between the light and the dark side. And the gods of Mortis, in the Clone Wars, Anakin basically brings the son and daughter to their knees. All right. There you go. The Force loved him. So we've got her face with appears to be Anakin, the chosen one. Not Anakin that we know as the Jedi, not Darth Vader, Anakin, the chosen one. Okay, that's what I'm thinking we're seeing. But it could be the son of Mortis. She's met him before. And incidentally, in the first episode of this series, when she's trying to get to the map, you hear the son, Star Wars Theory talked about it, you hear him in the ambient noise. You hear his voice saying, is he the chosen one? He is the chosen one. You hear him saying that. Yeah, that's exactly what. That is Zacharella. And I liked Boba Fett. Don't yell at me. I didn't think it was great, but it wasn't as bad as what people said it was. Sorry, I gotta be different. So is it the son? Because remember, in the Mortis arc, the son could pretend to be the son could be Anakin's mother, could be a little blue guy that bit Ahsoka. It could be Ahsoka as an adult. It could be any of these things. He can mimic anybody. He's basically a changeling. And so it could be him, but I don't think so. There's something very young. Like if you look at Zechariel, you have to see that it's the Mortis arc. All right, it's in. Oh, it's Anakin. Yeah, it's Anakin. It's just, I don't think it's the son. I think if they were smart, they'd wait for him until to break him free, until after Heir to the Empire's finished. I think that he's probably not. I don't think he'd fit in with any of this. So I do kind of think it's Anakin, and I gotta tell you, because you're putting it out in theaters, select theaters. Okay, so if you live in New York City, you live in Los Angeles, San Francisco, you live in London, maybe they're showing it. Go to the theater to see it, because there's something very special coming. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna be on the road. I'm gonna be sitting in a hotel room with my earphones on so I don't wake up my husband watching it. Okay. Whatever it is, it's going to be very big and it's going to change Star Wars. They would not be doing this. All right. They definitely didn't do it for Luke's return. Okay. But this thing is an hour long. So whatever it is, and this is just like we were told that they needed a second season of Ahsoka, and now to get to the world between worlds, and there's Ahsoka and Anakin staring down each other. Okay, okay, in the world between worlds. So I think they're speeding it up. Look, Kennedy is done. She's got one house for sale. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you guys this. I did discover they have more property in LA. They've got at least one place in Pacific Palisades. And I deduced it by doing some search on Instagram. And then if you ever want to look at a piece of property you're interested in buying, and you want to know who actually owned it or is selling it, go to Only. Okay, go to Ownerly. It's called Ownerly, and put in the property number, the address, and it'll tell you everything. Let's put it this way. I should get paid by a law firm for doing the snooping. Okay, you know, and the reason why I know that they still own it is it went to another trust for a lot of money, like 8 figures. No, wait, 30, 30. Yeah, 8 figures. Okay, and I don't know. You know what it looks to me is like they're hiding assets. Okay, but they've got the place in Malibu for sale, and yes, they do use it because I've seen pictures of Frank there. Okay, and pictures of the dogs there. And you know, it's just, Craig, you should probably try to do another channel. That's what I would do. You know, just delete it and start building. You know, but anyway, so I've been snooping. I'm not going to tell you everything I found out, but and yeah, they did at least did own a new or a place in Telluride, Colorado. Okay, so and the reason why I snooped is because I wanted to see. It's better to know have all the information to go forward than it is to not. It's very interesting to me watching all this and seeing how all this is unfolding with her. The last personal picture that Frank posted, before Jimmy Buffett died, was from Sag Harbor, and I know she's with him. All right, I mean, usually, and they've been on permanent vacation for a long time, because the horsemen don't want her back. They don't want her to come around. And she's got homework to do every day, read scripts, read story memos, and then she has to write a report every day of what she was doing and submit it to them. Okay, so that's what is going on with Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know if she's there now with him. Again, I don't know what the Jimmy Buffett. Yeah, well, shall we indulge the boomers? The celebration of life. I hate that. I hate that. It's just like, okay, let's make this into an indulgent bullet pile of shit. Okay, because whatever. I don't know what it is, but him and Frank, Jimmy Buffett and Frank were really good friends, and I think that they would probably go to that. So that'll either be in Florida or wherever. Okay. Oh, I think you need to. I really do. I think you need to. So let's get back to the business. And look, the reason why I needed to rant and vent is this. Somebody went on a friend of mine's message board and basically condescendingly was telling everybody that you shouldn't really think that the sequel trilogy is going away. Blah, 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 blah. And they're in the States, Andrew, being condescending, your typical whatever. And it's like, okay, the gloves are off. Okay, I'm not taking any money advice from you. By the way, okay? Because if I had a dumpster fire that I had invested billions of dollars in and I needed to put the fire out, you'd say, well, just leave the fire. You can't get rid of it. You invested all this money. And I'm like, I lost all this money. If I didn't have this dumpster fire, and I'm not saying all of Lucasfilm is a dumpster fire, Mandoverse is great. I'm saying that part of it is a dumpster fire. Anything bony ass bitch Kathy touched exploded into our faces. And here we are, being cascaded with an exploding fucking outhouse, which is what it is. I'm not going to do it if I'm Disney. I'm going to invest in Mandoverse. I'm going to make sure. Exactly, Led Zeppelin. And it's like, do you really hear yourselves? Do you honestly think that's how people do this? It's like Beth Dutton says to John Dutton, businesses don't sell the winners, they sell the losers. Businesses don't shut down the winners, they shut down the losers. I'm looking at the sequel trilogy. All right, there's already ample evidence that they're shutting down the High Republic. And what's really interesting, if you want to test the waters and see what the Flying Monkeys have to say, Pablo Hidalgo did not say a word about Ahsoka at all this last time. All right? Not a word. Why? Because they're fucking changing the timeline. Because they have to. Disney doesn't want to sell Star Wars. They don't want to sell Lucasfilm. Look, I don't give a flying fuck what any black pillow YouTuber, geeks and gamers, it doesn't matter. They're not going to sell it. Now they could, of course. There was a rumor going around Lucasfilm that Prince Fahad of Saudi Arabia had had offered them $8 billion for it. And there were some other things that were going on, but I don't think that's happening now. Or maybe Disney, is like, if you guys invest this money, we can go in as partners. No, and actually I agree with Craig. I don't think that's the reason, Zep. I think the reason why they're afraid of Ahsoka is because they know the sequel trilogy is going to be slain and put into its own little corner pocket universe so they can all go. Lutando Mutu, I can't. What? Are you speaking Pig Latin? Is that how you pronounce your name? Huh, faggot? Granny. Fuck you. Okay, fuck you. Thank you, Dave. Craig, I'm gonna make you a wrench too. There. 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 Now, there you go. So, yeah, Yavin is right. So, all right, where was I? Before I went off and started beating the shit out of that weird person. I always love it when these ethnic foreigners, try to say something shitty, and then when you see them, they're disgusting. So, I'm 587. All right, how about if you just get booted? How much you guys want to bet that these people were sent here from a certain thieving, copyright stealing pair of dickheads from the shit end of the United States. There. See, that's how that happens. Okay. Anyway, look, these trolls show up, and I know who sent them, and I think Craig will know who I'm talking about, because they're mad that I reported them for stealing a copyright violation, and if they do it again, I'm going to have their goddamn channels. Yeah, they are. You know, obviously, you know, the deliverance issues that they've got going on isn't enough for them. I don't know. But anyway, right, where was I? So Ahsoka's being shown at select theaters. And something big is happening. You know, so, and look, as someone who's done a lot of like business dealings and everything, and actually seen, you know, top flight politicians and leadership, there is something definitely going on. The idea that you look, getting rid of the sequel trilogy is like getting rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, you know, and it's pretty funny when I think about that, because back in 2016, Seth Rich got murdered. The two guys that did it jumped on a plane for Islamabad, and when it was all said and done, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was the head of the DNC, was shoved back into non-existent anonymous congresswoman mode. Okay, because she fucked up so bad. Okay, she fucked up really bad. And if you've got like a division in a store that is not doing well, the shoe department, like look at Lucasfilm as being a division of Disney, but they have their own divisions. And you've got the sequel trilogy, and you've got part of the publishing, and they're not doing well. What do? Do you continue the storylines that aren't selling, or do you just get rid of them? You get rid of them. That's what you do. You know, I think that Dave, next time they do that, just ban them. Just ban them. Craig, go for it. You guys have the calm. I'm done. So, really, changes are coming. Okay, changes are definitely coming, and it's happening. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If for whatever reason, either, quite frankly, I think a lot of black pills insist on being right. The blobs, all right, stealing, you know, Cameron's scoops and saying that's their own. They do that. You know, deciding that Kennedy's out when they insisted that she wasn't. And look, you know, I'm gonna leave you guys with this. We've got Disney in a tailspin. It looks like someone is gunning for Iger now. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Don't be surprised to see Nelson Peltz as the leader of an investor revolt. All right. And if he gets his way, I am not sure that a new regime at Disney would be beholden to Kennedy's contract. They might just say, we'll pay you this much money, get the fuck out. Okay. We'll pay you this much money, you know, get the fuck out. So, you know, it's you know, it's gonna be something like that if Iger's the bad guy. But here's the deal. He has played possum before with this stuff. All right? He has played possum before with this stuff. Yeah, it does. I mean, it reminds me of that too, Jacob. But anyway, you guys have a good afternoon. It's been kind of an interesting day. And doing the research into Kennedy's vast real estate empire, I can't wait to tell Cameron that Kennedy Marshall Company offices are like right down the road from where he lives. Get a priest. I need an old priest and a young priest. Anyway, so you guys have a good afternoon, and to the trolls, fuck off. Okay, I have enough. You know. All right, Craig, it was good to see you guys, and to see you and Dave and everybody. So you guys have a good evening. My husband should be home pretty soon. So have a good evening. And if anything goes on, we get any messages from Sparrow and they're good, I'll be back. Talk to you later.